Oh my God. Okay. Oh. Oh my God. Okay, where do we go? Where do we start? All right, so I just picked up a record and we have to sample it together. I think that there's going to be a lot for us to play with in this one. The whole entire record is full of pieces that we can play with, all the way from bank A all the way to bank D. So I have... And with this sample, since I already knew that I was going to chop, I already know it's going to work. There's some samples that I'll bring into the studio and I feel like it's gonna work. I have an idea of how I'm going to chop it up, but once I chop it up and put it into my pads, it does not work out the way I thought it was. So this record, I know 100% we're gonna be able to come up with something. All right, so since I know this song is going to work, I have some drums right here laid out on this grid. The reason why I wanna have this already ready to go is because once I have my sample chopped up the way I want it, I'm able just to hit play on my MPC and start coming up with different ideas. Yo, look, the whole entire chopped up sample program is gonna be fire. Oh my God. Okay. Oh my God. Okay, where do we go? Where do we start? Sometimes the problem is that everything sounds good and I don't know what to commit to. That's actually a good problem. There's times where I get a sample and I'm trying to force it to work and I just cannot come up with anything. And right now, every single pad that I'm triggering, I like how it sounds. So it's just deciding what I'm going to stick with. I'm honestly just banking through every single bank every time a beat hits. So let me explain a little bit, and everybody's at a different stage with music, and some people understand beats and bars. Some other people might not understand beats and bars. The way I chop up my samples, this is not the only way to do it. This is just the way I do it, and I find it to be very helpful, is I'm chopping every slice on the quarter notes. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm counting in my head when I'm listening to the record. That's how I'm chopping it up onto my MPC and making that into its own program. The reason why is because as long as I'm on beat, whenever I hit play with my drums that I have sequenced right here on the grid, it's gonna come together very well. All right, so one thing you'll notice right here, at least on my arranger page, I'm very simple. There's not 20 tracks right here. I don't have different plugins, and like it's just 2 tracks. I have my drums that I sequenced right here, my one-shots. By the way, if you guys want to pick up these drums, they are part of my sample pack volume 3. I'll leave a link down in the description. Very simple groove right here. That's it. I was not sure, and I'm still not sure if this is the groove that I'm going to stick with. I might switch it up later on once I lay down my sample, but I'm not overwhelming myself. When I'm trying to be creative, and when I say creative, I'm trying to dig up an idea of how I'm going to sequence this. I'm not trying to invest my time into the technical side and let me add some ghost kicks. Let me add some ghost high. Like, I don't want to waste my energy right now that I'm just initiating this beat on trying to get too technical with how I'm programming my drums. I can do that later. I can do that once I have my sample chops sequenced, because the most important part for me right now is just connecting with my sample and the drums. How am I going to resequence this sample that I just invested and chopped it up? I do not want to lose that instinct that I have. And I feel it right now, and this is not going to last forever, because you know that once you listen to a sample for a good amount of time, you kind of lose that initial inspiration or that initial spark. So right now, I got to dig this up and come up with a sequence. Now, I noticed that in Bank B, I got some really interesting pauses or breaks, and then we'll hear some of these trumpets on solo. Like, these three right here are accented pads. I'll even color code these pads right here just so I know which ones I'm triggering. I'm gonna go to single pads. All right, so in Bank B, I colored some pretty cool accented sample chops. And I'm going to use these and throw these into my sequence every now and then just to break up the loop apart and just to switch it up whenever I feel like giving it that accented sample hit. So I'll go back to Bank A. I feel like I have something pretty solid right here. All right, so I'm confusing myself a little too much as I'm jumping between different banks. To simplify things, look, I'm right here in this arranger, and I'm not gonna go ahead and perform the entire 4 bars. I could use this selector up here and just focus on this first bar. I don't want to overwhelm myself and start thinking of, I need to perform perfectly all 4 sequences or all 4 bars on my grid. No. I'm going to just be very simple because there's so many different directions I can take this towards. So again, I just set a loop. I select my sample track, hit record, play start, and just focus on this first bar. That's it. Meanwhile, that's playing. I'm gonna just move this to the second bar, hit overdub, record, and right here come up with a different sequence. Woo. Let's hear that. Let's move on to the other last 2 bars. All right, so look, on this last 4 bar right here, it sounds good, but I can perfect this. This is the wrap up of this phrase. So I'm gonna open up the grid editor, being right here on the arranger, and I can just zoom in right here. Notice that when I zoom in, it's focusing on this selection that I've created. And I'm able to just use this selector right here and get rid of this last note that I hit. I can perfect this last bar right here. I want this guitar strum. I want that to be the very last note it hits on the last beat of this bar. So what I'll do is select it, cut it, and I'm gonna add it right here. Hit overdub, play start. Right there, boom. And then if I want, I can zoom in some more. I gotta look for this one right here. I don't like how this one sounds. Cut that, and I'm gonna replace that with one of these other accent notes. Oh, maybe that one. Oh, Oh man, that is awesome. Now, notice I'm doing my cuts. I'm editing the video as I'm creating this beat, but I want you to get the idea of what I'm doing right here and how I'm building this track. I'm not performing right now. I'm not trying to perform in front of a stage. I'm doing this on my own. We're alone right here in the studio. I can take my time and focus piece by piece. I'm not trying to tackle a whole entire sequence down in the first take. I'm just doing small selections and perfecting each bar how I want it to sound. And then I'm able to listen to the whole entire phrase right here to hear how it sounds. As a matter of fact, what I'll do is on this drums, and now I'm gonna go back to the drums and let's listen to an empty pad. And I wanna go into my browser and look for some drum rolls. Out of that. All right, I think we have a few drum rolls right here. I can experiment. Again, I'm not gonna listen to the whole entire 4 bars. I only wanna select the second bar and the 4th bar. Right now, I'm gonna just select the second bar, hit play start, and it's going to loop that bar, and I'm gonna just see which snare roll sounds best to add to this bar. Ooh. Ooh, that's it, I put it in there. I'm gonna go to the 4th bar, and add that same snare roll right here. That sounds great. Now, I want to add an intro. We went over this on our previous video. Very easy way to add an introduction to this. Go to this little pencil icon. I'm going to insert bars. I maybe want an intro with 2 bars, and I'm going to put that before bar 1. Hit do it, and now I have an additional 2 bars right here that I can come up with some type of intro. All right. Oh man, that sounds awesome. Let's go ahead and put that right there. Oh man, this is awesome. Look guys, I'm having a great time. This is something that I like to share with people. Is it becomes fun when you're able to think of an idea and execute on it quickly, right? Sometimes the complication of an MPC or any other instrument could be a bit frustrating when you have this awesome idea and you cannot tackle it down because there's some bugs or there's some type of unknown workarounds to be able to add 2 bars at the beginning of the first bar, right? Like it's so fun being able to master your machine to the point where any idea that you have is like second nature and you're able to just lay that down right here on the grid. I'm very happy with the way this is coming together. And I mean, again, keep in mind, it's only 2 tracks, right? If you are part of my course, check out the arrangement beats overview. It's the very last chapter. You're gonna see it on the 3.0 videos. I go over all this in more detail. I know right here on a YouTube video, as I'm putting a beat together, I'm just kind of summarizing how I'm moving around with this machine. But if you really want a slow tempo or slow pace explanation on all this stuff, sign up to the course. What I want to do is just go over the basics on the MPC, how to make a beat from start to finish and how to be comfortable with that. If you're not already signed up to it and you still feel like you need that extra help after watching some YouTube videos, go down to the link of this video. I do offer payment plans, so you could start taking the course today and just set up a payment plan as you're learning the MPC. Now, guys, thank you so much for hanging out with me. This truly means a lot. I really appreciate you guys taking the time and being right here. Hopefully on our next video, we can finish up this track. I do want to add some bass on top of this, and we'll focus that on a different video. Thank you guys so much. I'll catch y'all on our next one. Peace.
Seguirá, yo no quiero. Seguirá, yo no quiero.